Hey, welcome to another edition of Butte Forge. I'm Arnie. Thanks for tuning in. Today's project, what I got is some table legs, and my client brought me a sample that they found somewhere, and I think they just bought the one or something, and they just kind of would prefer that it's a little bit heavier duty, a little bit bigger looking. So what we're going to do is I am going to go with a larger ball. As you can see, the ball is a lot larger. And we're going to go with a much larger ring. Alright, so these rings are a lot herkier, a lot more substantial. Wanted to show you something that we do in the shop. These rings here that we make a series of these in all these different sizes, and very practical. And eventually everything you're going to do, once you make yourself up enough of these, everything you do will sooner or later fit on some of these rings. So for example, this one's kind of in a, you know, an egg shape or whatever, a very oval to one end. And this is actually a table leg. We used to simply just make a leg that went around like this, and you put all four opposing each other and the table on the top, whatever. So, but what I'm going to do is my sample fits, the curve that I need in that sample fits between that soapstone mark and that one. So everything fits, you know, on your jigs. It's really a good investment to start building these jigs up, okay? And what I'm going to do real quick while we're letting some steel get hot in the forge is I want to show you how these go, okay? So on the wall, as you can see, got a series of them. Some are missing because some are in other places right now just floating around, okay? But how these are made is quite simple. You start with say a small piece of pipe, or say like a 5-inch threaded coupler or something, you know, for some conduit, and you wrap a piece of 1/4 by 2 around it, and you just wrap it around there cold, and it'll spring open, okay? You weld a brace across it. Then you put that one in the vise, and I'm missing the next size, but what you'll do is you'll spring another one around it cold, and then weld a brace, whatever it springs open to, etc., etc. And eventually you could just see how this one was made off of that one. They just spring open, okay? And you just make a series of these. Once you have a series of these, that allows me to make a series of these, okay? And these are just much heavier duty versions, so I can pry things like my cap rails off my gates and things like that. Usually I make these out of 3/8, okay? And then up here, for example, this is just 2 versions back to back to make an oval, say for signs, okay? But that egg shape, I guarantee something fits, okay? Then down here, so I've got even larger ones. This one's as tall as I am, and it's basically just an arch, symmetrical arch. I've got all these various sizes that we've made over the years like that. And so sooner or later, as I said, every project that comes down the pipe, those curves will fit. So let's get back to the job at hand. So what I wanted to do is briefly just show you guys, since time's almost up in this video, I like to keep it short, how I bend these up and how this procedure goes, okay? So I got steel, it's red hot, all right? And I'm just gonna go through a few of them and show you how they get bent up, all right? Because what I'm bending are these right here, okay? All right. So let's throw the camera in the jig-a-ma-thing-a-ma-jingus. And let me get in the frame here and grab a couple hot pieces. What I've done is I've sized all my clamps ahead of time. Alright. So here's something. I know that I'm going to probably cut my section out, so I made all my metal a little bit longer. Alright, I'm going to just cut it out of there. So I'll push it in, put that one on, push it a little more, put that one on, a little more, put that one on, grab my bending fork. This part you just kind of do by feel, you bring it in, and what I'm looking for is this bar here to roughly line up straight with what I'm calling my side of my workbench, which I know is not straight. All the workout is right here, so it can't be straight. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Pull these clamps. Try not to mess with your sizes as you take them apart. Keep in mind, every part you do, it gets hotter and hotter. This area gets hotter and hotter. Grab another one. I'll just come by somewhere past my mark. Push it in a little. Use the clamp. Use the clamp to help pull it in a little bit. It doesn't hurt anything. Do that again. Do it again another time. Right about there. Back to the bar. And after you do a few of these, you'll get the feel. You'll know about how far you got to go. And so it's sprung just a little, like a little bit more, so I'll come a little bit more. There it is. If you go too far, no big deal. It's still hot. It takes half the force to push it back as it did to go that way. That's pretty much general rule of thumb when you're working steel. I mean, it's not, PhD or nothing. But like I said in the intro, I tend to just show you tricks of the trade and how I do it, how I get things done in a timely manner. A lot of blacksmiths are really good at making one thing one at a time, but you're never going to make a living doing that. You have to somehow be able to get to the bank with the money. And that's what these jigs do. I can make the same part 1,000 times today if that's what it took. And at the end of the day, they're almost all going to be identical. What I've done is I've robbed a section off my jig, and in the end what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much compare to the master, and I'm going to cut a section out. That will be my new master, okay? And I'll make sure they all fit. I'll run through every bar. I'll make sure every bar is identical. Let's do the last couple. Another one. Clamp. Remember, these keep getting hotter and hotter as you go. I highly advise you have some cotton mill gloves for safety. I've got safety glasses on because mill scale pops when you do this. You really should have glasses. If you're going to start swinging the hammer, you should have some hearing protection as well. It's getting a little tight. I'm going to back that off. You don't need to tighten the heck out of everything. If you over tighten your clamps, you end up straining them. That's what wears them out. There you go. Try to let the clamp do a little work for you. Got in. Come back to the bar. Go like so. A little bit more maybe. Bam. There it is. Like that. Got one more for you. We'll call it quits. Alright, last one. Alright, yeah, I didn't even burn myself this time. How about that? Go in. Go loose. There we go. You're doing hot work too, but clamps like these are serrated, so if you set them too tight, you're gonna what we call mule paw your clamp, or mule paw your material, keep that impression in. A little more, and that's it. Alright, in order to keep them the same, if you notice, as soon as I do the work, I take the clamp off. I don't leave the clamp on and come back later. That's something you don't want to do. If you do that, that one will be different from all the others. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to Butte Forge. I hope you enjoyed this. Make yourself up these little D-ring jigs. They're very, very practical. There's nothing that comes your way in the shop that sooner or later doesn't fit on these things. So very useful. And I hope that you have a good afternoon. It's very hot in here, so I think I'm going to turn the camera off and go swimming. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. Press like, share it with your friends. Signing off.